We wish we
Good. Yeah.
wish we all had this problem as well. Okay, so guys, we have here Garry Gunner, which made us the honor to be with us today. He's staying in a country that he will talk about. Um, Garry, to introduce a little bit about yourself, where are you from? How old are you? What do you do for a living? Let us know.
Of course. Good morning, I assume. Good morning, good afternoon, let's call it. And good evening to Morgan. So my name's Garry Relton. I've originally from the United Kingdom. Um, I've I currently I moved to Singapore about 15 years ago. And in that time, from starting in JP Morgan in the UK, I feel very lucky to be able to work in a large company like JP Morgan, and I kind of managed to work in five different countries, um, all in about 30 years. So interestingly enough, in October, so in a few days, I would have been at JP Morgan Bank for 30 years, which is a long, long time.
Bro, I was
Yeah,
not
so I've
even
been in
born.
JP.
I was not even born.
So someone reminded me 2 days ago and said, so you've been in JP Morgan for 30 years. I was 5 years old when you joined JP Morgan.
Whoa.
Um, and just in case someone's doing the math, because I'm not the best at math, so I'm 49 years old. I'm 50 years old in March. Morgan still tells me that I look like a 25-year-old, so I'm
You do.
pretty happy at 25-ish or so. I've been in banking for that 30 years. I started off in Barclays Bank before JP Morgan. And JP Morgan was the biggest company in the area. So just in case you may be familiar, Bournemouth on the south coast is where I'm originally from. It's right down the very south of the United Kingdom. And JP Morgan is the biggest company in that area. So kind of one reason why I've been there for a large number of years. And as I say, managed to work in the UK originally, India. I worked in Mumbai for about just under 1 year. Also worked in New York, Chicago, and finally the last 15 years in Singapore. And that's probably one reason why I've managed to stay in one company for 30 years. If it was in the UK, I don't think I would have stayed in JP Morgan for 30 years, and I probably wouldn't want to stay in the UK for that number of years either. So the kind of roles, that's kind of who I am, where I'm from. I have a wife who's Indonesian, hence I do want to move to Indonesia, hopefully Bali and or Jakarta one day. I've got a 6-year-old son, um, so very active, good boy, super good boy. Um, yeah, and that's kind of a little bit about me. Just from a work perspective, just to share, um, I everyone with their working career, they make mistakes. They kind of let opportunities fly by. Some people grab the opportunities, but for me, from a work life perspective, I look at it, and especially since after COVID, I'd say is don't take life overly seriously. So it's not all about like how much money you've got. It's not about title. It's not about I want to be bigger and better than everyone else. I mean, we all have other commitments. We have family challenges. We have all this stuff going on. And for me personally, I've always been good attitude to work towards work. I'm not the kind of person that's like I have to have things. I have to have a title. I have to have all these things. I just say kind of have a good attitude is number one. Um, yes, you have to work hard, but I would say the advice would be work smart, not always work hard. And just kind of try to be as humble and down to earth as possible, and then treat people with respect. And I think you can kind of like do well. And I think that's one reason why people say, "Oh, how did you manage to stay in JP Morgan for 30 years?" I kind of reel off some of them things and say, I mean, I must be doing something right. And I'm not the smartest guy academically wise by any shape or form. I think it's attitude, work smart, work hard, respect people, look after people, help people, and kind of people will help you.
That's good. That's really good, Gary. Thank you for this introduction. First question that I have in mind for you right now. So you are working 30 years for the same company, but one question that I was wondering something. Didn't you have some other offers from others company, like competitors of them, like telling, okay, this guy is working there, is really serious. We have good vision about him. Like, didn't you have other offers, like bigger offers from competitors and stuff?
Yeah, great question, and it's something I do speak to people about when they ask this question. To be honest, in Singapore, I'd say there has been other opportunities that I could leave JP Morgan, and I'm not afraid to say I could be on more money than what I'm on now if I'd have jumped ship and gone two, three, four, five different companies. But something that I always when I say this, I always smile, and I'll probably continue to smile when I say this. Is the amount of people who left JP Morgan and 1 year, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, they WhatsApp me or they message me or phone me and say, "Oh, just wonder if there's any opportunities in JP Morgan," because when I come to ask the question, "Oh, like you're not happy in your current place," one thing springs to mind. They always say they didn't realize how good JP Morgan was from a kind of a governance perspective, from a system automation perspective. It's not manual. So other companies that they go to, yeah, they may earn some more money, but are they happy in their role? Do they like their role? Do they like the company they work for? So that's how I've been approached a few times. And yeah, who doesn't want more money? But do you want more money to be less happy? For me personally, no, it's not a number one factor.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And on the perspective of the fact that you changed many time of country, so you lived in the US, in UK, and now you're living in Singapore for how many years now?
15 years.
15 years. So, okay, we can say, like, can we say that you feel like home in Singapore, or you still feel like you're an expat?
I feel like home since having a personal residency here in Singapore, and I'd say Singapore is a very easy place to live. Everything's kind of efficient, very clean. We're a family, so a safe place to bring up your family. I don't worry about my wife going out 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, coming back. If I was in the UK, I'd be worried for sure. But Singapore, safe place to work, no concerns. But yeah, I'd say home certainly is Singapore for sure.
Okay, so now you're considering in moving to Bali, for example. What would you be missing from Singapore in Bali, for example?
I would say, what would I be missing?
Except the ship, like the hotel, the big hotel that we all
The
know.
Marina Bay Sands.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what? 15 years I've been. So when I first moved to Singapore, I saw them building that hotel and a taxi to work every day. And I could
Wow.
see bit by bit. And then one day I vividly remember them putting part of the swimming pool on the top of the hotel. Fantastic. And even 15 years down the line, I drive past Marina Bay Sands and it's still just an iconic building to look at. So yeah, fantastic. So to answer your question, what would I miss? I would miss that view for sure. Driving into a city. For me, I'm not a city person. I'm not like an island person. I kind of feel quite balanced. I could be either or. But I certainly miss Singapore from a city perspective because it is a city, but I tell you, it doesn't feel like I live in a hustle bustle. Maybe because I've had the opportunity to work in a New York and a Chicago, which is a hectic city. Singapore, I feel city life, but you can kind of come away from that city life. So I'd certainly miss that approach. And then I think kind of like just think things run on time. And as if you've been to Bali, Morgan, you'll know this. It's not Bali time. It's the time. But again, like that's a small thing. If you're living in an island life, you expect island kind of things and time things to take time and so on.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So, you told us that you are like 30 years in the same company and having finally this happiness in this job and with this structure that you can get over there. But if you had a very funny question, an interesting question for you, if you had to start over, but in these times, like in
Mm,
2025, would you have the same traditional path that you having right now? Because 30 years in the same company, for people like me, for example, for me, I could not even imagine, you know. Um, but like if you were in the 2025 time and you had to start over, would you try something else?
yeah, good question. So, but for me, but when I cast my mind back to like why did I get into banking? There's two things why I got into banking, and one of them was probably not silly, but reason. So my brother worked in a bank. He works in Barclays Bank, and two reasons I thought, banking, so you must earn loads of money because you work in a bank, not
Yeah.
being like the high street bank that has loads of cash kind of thing. So a little bit silly and a bit naive, but yeah. So I thought, oh, working banking, it's not the worst kind of role to go down. And then the other one was a bit more serious, was the fact that I thought if you work in a bank and being JP Morgan, the biggest bank where I used to live in the UK, my mentality was in the event there's redundancies, you get laid off, you're working in a big organization. And if you prove yourself, you work hard, work smart, um, there's a higher chance that someone else would take you on in a larger organization. So that was kind of like the two reasons why I started, or the third reason would be because it's the biggest company in that area. So three reasons why I started. But to answer your question, I would definitely want to do something different, because now you can look back and I share with you what I look out for my son. I know he's only 6, but I look out and say, well, actually, um, if I can share the experiences that I've had with my son, and if I can experience things like, hey, son, like if you focus on science when you're at school, if you focus on history or geography, if you focus on certain classes when you're at school, you could lead into different jobs. For example, you could be a hotelier, you could be a manager at a hotel, you could be focus on science, you could be a dolphin trainer, go to university, you could be a doctor. And I think when I was at school, I don't really remember any teacher or kind of the college saying to me, "Hey Gary, if you focus in these kind of 10 different areas, you could be going down this path at a later time in life." So I would broaden my thought process and horizons to say, right, I've got more options and opportunities rather than just going into banking.
Okay, 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 okay. That's an interesting answer. I hope that everybody here understood everything. Huh? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Last question from me before we ask them to ask you some questions. Um,
Sure.
so you shared about your path, about everything that led you to banking organization and stuff. What's the next step for you?
Next step for me. So I think as I touched upon earlier, like it's not about how much money you have, are you happy, where do you see yourself? For me, my priority, well, mine and my wife's priority is our son, 6 years old. I want to kind of make sure he's got um a good start in life to make sure that he's hopefully successful and he does something that he really wants to do. So my slight challenge, if I'm honest, right now is I'm 49, my wife's 45, my son is 6. Um,
Okay.
and it sounds, I'm not rushing my life or rushing our life away, but my thought process is, well, if I stay in banking for say another 5 years, I don't want to tempt fate so soon, but if they made me redundant in 5 years, I get a pay package. I'll be quite happy. Then I've got an opportunity. Obviously, I've got Morgan knows some property in Bali. So from a home perspective, I have somewhere to go and somewhere to live. Um, and then I did share with Morgan yesterday, like we've kind of backup plan number two would be in the event we move to Bali. Bali is not a really place for the older generation, I would say. You need to think about, well, my son, what will he do? Like his school, his university, his college, like what would be his life prospects when he starts to get to the age of 16, 17, 18? So our thought process is maybe 5 years, 4 years, another, let's say, them years in Singapore, move to Bali. Um, Me and my wife kind of settle down, like enjoy life a bit more, kind of like from that kind of not working, not stressed, all that perspective. My son would still have that opportunity to be in schooling in Bali,
Yeah.
and then maybe again 5 years down the line after that, 8 years down the line, we have a backup plan to move to Jakarta.
Okay.
And to more than those, my wife is Indonesian from Jakarta, so again have a vast family in Jakarta. Again, more opportunities for my son to hopefully get a good education, stroke career in his later life.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Definitely. Last and least from me, the question before we asking the audience their questions. How important, because you speaking another language or not?
Saya bahasa tidak bagus. Saya
Ya, ya,
bahasa
oke.
sedikit.
Ya, ya. Aku bisa lihat kamu nggak bisa bahasa Indonesianya. Belum bisa, belum bisa, masih belajar.
Belum, belum.
Okay, okay. So I wanted to know, Garry, so you're living abroad for almost 20 years, like 15 years in Asia and everything. Have you been facing some difficulties in communication with someone? I mean, how important is it to be able to speak English in Asia or all over the world, all over the countries you traveled already? Yeah, like, did you ever face some difficulties in communication with people or some struggles, or never really because you can speak English actually?
Yeah, I would say English people, including myself, not maybe so much now, but I think as a country we're very ignorant because we there's the saying of English people, we expect people to be able to speak English, which is very ignorant approach to taking life. I've definitely faced some challenges. Even my wife's family, some of them speak English, some of them don't speak English. So to try to communicate with some of the family members is pretty challenging. So I'd say that's kind of there's a workaround. You have I need to start to learn more than what I know today in Bahasa, Indonesian. And then, but from away from the family side of things, I would say certainly in Singapore, actually, Singapore, they speak primarily English, but you may be aware they speak something called Singlish.
Oh yeah.
Singlish means, and without me being patronizing, they add certain words to the end of their sentence. So they would say, for example, I'm going here,
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Lah. Lah. But I'd say in life, communication is so important. Effective communication is important. So even with someone speaking English in Singapore, if they're a native, I struggle to understand them. Like say, sorry, what do you say? They're speaking English,
yeah,
but they're speaking Singlish. But the
yeah.
words is English, but they add certain phrases on the end or the beginning. And as a born and bred English person, yeah, I do struggle sometimes to understand what they say, and speed wise as well. Some people so enthusiastic. They speak fast. They speak muffled. They don't speak overly clear. Um, Not a criticism, but again, that's some of the challenges that I face.
Okay, okay, okay. So basically, finally, it's most on the way they're talking or their own English that they made themselves. But finally, while traveling and everything, you never face struggles while communicating with people, with foreigner or whatever,
No,
right?
Yeah, no, not particularly. No, I think it comes back to that I said earlier, respect. If you respect people, like maybe their English isn't good or they try to speak English,
Yeah.
and in a different country, I may be struggling a bit. But would I pull a face? Would I like yeah, like push like go away kind of thing? Like no, because you respect them, you respect where
Sure.
you are, and one way or another, you can get by unless they don't speak a word of English. And I guess just one last thing for me on this topic would be no, just in case no one's Chinese on this call, but some of the local Chinese people who don't speak English, they speak 100 miles per hour. They're very sometimes can be slurred in how they speak, and they're talking to you, and you're trying to explain. Sorry, I don't understand. And my wife's Indonesian. She looks Chinese stroke
Yeah.
Indonesian. They speak to her. She doesn't understand, but they keep talking because they're not listening. That to me is another thing, effective listening skills to help you communicate effectively as well.
For sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Garry, thank you very much for this introduction and
Thanks,
giving
my
all your
man.
feedbacks about everything. We're gonna ask now the audience. They have the right to ask you two questions,
Of course.
each one. So it can be about what you said or about anything else, guys. Feel free. We have the honor to have Garry with us, so enjoy it because it's really complicated to get this guy. So we'll start by Jessica. Jessica, we are listening for your first question.
So, do you come back to UK often?
I do. My mum and dad are still here. So I go back. So this year I've been back 3 times already, and I'm actually going there in 1 week and 4 days time. So it'd be the fourth time that I'll be heading back to the UK to see my parents.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Juliana, one question from you.
Hello, Garry. Thank you for
Hello.
being here with us and sharing your time. Okay, I am here for for improve my understanding and my level. Yeah, my level for the moment.
It's okay, Juliana, ask your question. Don't worry.
Can't allow me, my level for the moment can't allow me to understand a whole conversation. Yeah, I'm so sorry, but I know that Morgan is going to send us the live, so I could and I could hear you again. Yeah, okay. So at the beginning of the before your introduction, at the beginning, I just understand what I meant. So I think, are you, I don't think you are concerned, aren't you? Because you are so young. I don't know if you understand what I said, because I speak
Jessica.
quickly like you.
Yeah. Jessica, firstly, you don't need to be sorry, and secondly, you called me young, so I'm very happy with that statement. So that's what I need to understand. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. My question, I understand you are originally from UK.
Mhm.
It's okay. It's exact because
Excellent.
sometimes, yeah, exact. Okay, because I better understand the accent, the UK English accent instead US accent, but probably you speak so quickly and I didn't understand all your conversation. So. My question, yeah, to probably okay, to improve my English, probably can you tell me some
Tips.
advice or tips? Yeah.
Sure, sure. So and I'm going to slow my speech down because I'll take a tip from you is that speaking to an audience who is not English, I should slow my speech down as well. So that's I'll take that tip. I would say what I say to my kind of folks who work for me in Hyderabad, India. So I've got a team in India and I have a team in Malaysia. I always say to them is when you're going to present or you're speaking, you're going to go up and speak to someone. There's two things I always say for the advice. One is prepare. Prepare like what is your key message you're going to go up to that person or persons to what do you want them to walk away from that conversation knowing, and that could be I could be asking someone, I want them to go and do something. So before I have that conversation, I would make a bullet point note. I would put a post-it note or on my pad. So I need to go and speak to this, say, senior manager. I want them to know these two things because I want the answers from these two questions I have. So that would be the first thing, be preparation. And the second piece of advice would be preempt. If you're going to someone and asking, say, for example, I'm going to go to a manager and ask for a budget, the kind of funds for something, I would go prepared with information. And then I would go, the second piece would be, I preempt what they may ask me. They may ask me, why do you need $1,000? Why do you need to travel to this location? So to make it clear to someone would be prepare before conversations, meetings, presentations. And secondly, preempt the questions that you may get asked so you can then answer them questions. So it looks like you're going into a conversation prepared.
Thank you very much. Morgan, I understand prepare and preempt. I didn't understand the second tips.
I bet
that was it. Preempt and prepare.
Preempt,
Okay.
prepare. Donc, Juliana, ce que tu feras, exercice intéressant, tu réécouteras le live et tu comprendras ce qu'il veut dire par cette expression-là, qui est, vu qu'il a expliqué, ça va faire sens, ok? Mais il faudra que tu réécoutes
Pas de souci.
de l'exercice.
Thank you, Garry.
Thanks, Jessica.
Emily, I don't know if you can speak that time or you're still on the Bluetooth of your car. Looks like you're on the Bluetooth once again, and we cannot hear you. Yeah, still on the Bluetooth. Well, you can write whenever, and I will send him to Garry, and Garry will make you a voice note if we can do like this. All right, second question for Jessica. Jessica, second and last question from you, Jessica. We're listening to you. Give us a question for Garry, the young Garry, 49 years old. Bro, I didn't even know you were 49. You look 39. Are you coloring your hair? Are you coloring your hair?
No, come on. It's my wife tells me I look like, no, man. My wife tells me I look like George Clooney. It's like grey, a little bit of grey on the top.
Bro, you look
natural.
Hot. You look hot, bro. I already got gray hair. I'm just 28. That's good. Jessica, your question, we are listening to you, but open the mic. That's better with the mic opened.
Okay. So Garry, what is your last trouble?
My last trouble. That's a good question. What's my last trouble? Okay. Without going into too much detail, some challenging times back in the UK with my parents. They're older generation. So I guess my last challenge or struggle was, and it's trying to get back. So my wife works for Singapore Airlines, and we have these tickets that's like sub low they call it. So like you turn up at the airport, if there's availability, you can jump on a flight. So I had to fly back to the UK pretty quick, open-ended ticket, and then I had to fly back to Singapore 3 weeks later. So my kind of challenge, I'd call it, and get stressful time for the brain, family, health-wise issues. And so turning up at the airport, not knowing if I can get on the flight, purely from the fact that it was the start of the school holidays in the UK. I didn't know about school holidays, didn't think about that. It was some other things on the brain. So the challenge was I had to sit there. There was a 9:25 flight, 11:25 a.m. flight, an 8:30 p.m. flight, and 11:25 p.m. flight. So 4 flights. I found myself struggling to get on the first flight, and I'm sitting there. I've got a fake or like a standby boarding pass, thinking, and I'm at the boarding gate, hopefully getting on this flight, waiting for someone to give me a new boarding pass, just to be told the person's turned up, so they've got the last seat. So then they take the boarding pass away, and then they give me a new one for the next flight, which is like 2.5 hours later. I have to move to another boarding area, sitting there on a standby boarding pass, waiting. To find out there's the airlines obviously overbook their seats. So they overbooked by 3 people, and I'm the one sitting there. So thinking, no, have to wait. The last flight of the night, I managed to secure the last seat only because the person didn't turn up for that flight.
Oh, okay.
And luckily, my friend who works for Singapore Airlines in the UK, she told me, I mean, I shouldn't be happy because it's not very nice for the other person, but happy for me because I got on the flight. The person turned up 10 minutes after the boarding gate had closed, which allowed me to get on the last flight of the day. So that to me was stressful, challenging, for just the whole day sitting, waiting, just to be told, oh, no available seats. And I'd set myself up to say, you don't, if you've been to London Heathrow Airport, it's not the best airport in the world, to be honest. So I didn't particularly want to be sitting there overnight or try to find a hotel and then go back and more stress. So yeah, that was probably the most recent stressful stroke, slightly challenging time.
What a travel!
Yes.
Not the best one, I guess, huh? Hopefully you had
Not the
better
best.
ones.
I hope so.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
on a serious note, there's more to when I think about, again, life situations, things going on in the world. I mean, yeah, when I look back now, at the time stressful, now you think, okay, well, it's not the end of the world. If you don't get on the flight, you have to just wait another day or 2 days. I mean, there's other serious things happening in the world that
For
are
sure.
more serious than Mr. Garry not getting on a flight.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
We're gonna take the last question now from Juliana. Juliana, we're listening to you for the last question before we close this call.
Yeah, Garry, probably you already spoke about that, but I understood that you work in different countries, yeah. And do you know or did you plan to work in another country after Singapore?
After Singapore, so if I understand your question, so I never really planned to leave the UK, to be honest. I'm very family orientated, love my family, parents, and I never really wanted to move so far away from home.
Okay.
Different life circumstances happened, right time, right place, right job in the UK, and then I had the opportunity before coming to Singapore. As I say, I worked in different countries, but this time from a Singapore perspective, it was right place, right time, right opportunity. And I decided, yeah, let's go. And I was going to go for 2 years only. That was my plan. But then, as I say, Singapore, very easy place to live, to work. 2 years become 4 years, 4 years, 6 years. Met my wife after 1.5 years or so. And yeah, just stayed in Singapore. And I've always said, as long as I can afford to travel back to the UK to see my family and my parents, kind of that's enough for me to be able to do that. Everything else is a kind of a bonus of what we do.
Okay, thank you, Garry.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jessica.
Okay, guys, we are going to thank all together Garry for being there with us and for having spent the last hour with us. Thank you very much, brother, for giving all your perspectives. Tell us about yourself, tell us about your past and your story and everything. That's really nice from you. I'll be in Bali waiting for you, and we will have a pizza because I don't drink beers anymore, unfortunately.
Good man. Good man. You'll be the first person to know.
Yeah. I'll be the